consciousness. It wasn't real quick.
One matrix is everything. It is all around us.
The aliens were like, coming. Our DNA was split, dude, from the fucking Anunnaki, man.
By the process of elimination, you might determine that you are probably being visited.
Well, you know, maybe some of them did really have some kind of experience or saw something. And
The aliens are like telepathic. I don't even believe this.
From saying extraterrestrials are related to UFOs.
You could potentially come to the same conclusion. It is the wall that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
What's going on, King Chris?
What's up, bro?
Not much, man. I'm pretty excited to dive into this one. It's not like the craziest story. Like I couldn't really even find too much information on it, but I think we'll have a fun time just kind of speculating about it. I've got a few different theories myself on what it is. But let me pull this up.
You know me, bro. I'm down. I'm down for anything. So
Yeah, I hear it. All right. So UFO captured in New York sky during Blue Angels air show. A suspected UFO was reportedly captured by onlookers during a U.S. Navy's flight demonstration show on Long Island, New York on Friday, and this was posted a week ago. So I think this was on the 29th of last month. Unidentified flying objects, better known as UFO. Okay, that's bullshit.
I saw this one. I didn't read anything about it, but I did see this the other day.
Again, it's kind of one of those, like, there isn't much to go off. So most of this conversation is going to be what's up, fellas in chat, is going to be just us speculating what we think it is.
For sure.
It's one of those articles. Ronnie, it's King Chris. You didn't know the cat. But yeah, this is it's just another situation or quote unquote news of hey, I saw a UFO, and dude,
Sure.
like, I feel like this, especially this year. How many times does this happen now? And it's like, that's what really kind of gets my curiosity running, is that, like, how many of these are actual, like, off-planet crafts,
For sure.
and how many of them are like government tech that, like, we just haven't been made aware of yet, you know? What are your
That's
thoughts
exactly
on
what I was going to say. It's just that there's the two instances where it's either government stuff or it's something other than that. You know what I mean? And a lot of these ones lately have just felt more like it's the government stuff. If it was going to be something, it maybe government stuff they have, especially this one.
Yeah, and this one's interesting. Like, you can barely see it, but, like, this actually kind of has the classic disc saucer shape to it.
Yep.
You can kind of see it, not really. I mean, yeah, you can barely see that thing moving at all. So it's not. I
Yep.
mean, there's not much to go off in this video. Now, one aspect I wanted to bring up was this guy, or this other. Bear with me for a moment.
Good.
I think it's this. So this was from actually a month prior. Possible UFO over New York City baffles passenger flying into LaGuardia. I don't know if this is.
This is the one where it flies by the window.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I've
so
seen this one too.
this one actually looks different, but I was thinking, like, maybe they're the same. Like,
Similar, yeah.
I don't know. It's really hard to tell. This one actually looks more like a pill, which is why I put that one in. Again, it's just so hard. It's so hard to actually tell off of these little, like, cell phone recordings.
And it's so, bro, it's broad daylight too. That's the other thing. Some of these things happen at night, and a lot of these daytime ones always seem like they're these pill kind of smaller drone type ones, you know?
Yeah. And one of the you know, one of the things I wanted to talk about in terms of these UFOs are the similarities between the different. So I've heard mainly with the past like 5 years, like mainly we're seeing like cubes, pills, saucers, and like pyramid shaped ones with like an orb
Right.
around. You know, and I don't know. It's really hard to put a nail on whether or not like I just really don't think we're ever going to be able to know if it's government or not until they actually come out and say it like for themselves.
Yeah.
Um, it's I thought it would be interesting though to kind of bring this one up too because they happen a month apart and also like why are they flying around New York? I'm actually more like so we both listened to um that Sean Ryan episode with or interview with Tucker Carlson, and I think he has like
Yeah.
a very logical perspective on it. You know
Right.
that he thinks that there is a level of like back engineering or just super advanced technology that the government is not telling us about, but also maybe like a supernatural. And he was kind
That's
of like, go on.
that's the shit. That's the shit, bro. When you start diving down that hole of like the supernatural, like you tend to lose a lot of people. You know what I mean? But that's the most intriguing stuff to me. Like the
Well,
government technology, it is what it is. I'm sure they probably definitely have stuff we don't know about. They back engineered things. You could almost guarantee that. But when you start delving into the other stuff, the more far out there, that stuff gets really interesting because I think he has a lot of good points with that too. Like he seems to
um,
know something. You know what I mean? He acts like he's talked to people in the know and they've told him things and he seems pretty sure about what he's saying, you know?
that's another, yeah. I mean, that's another. I don't know, man. I feel like he's
Crazy to
knowing.
go down that route, man. You know,
Yeah.
it once you go that way, it's like a lot of people aren't willing to even let themselves go down that path.
Well, I think it's actually very liberating to see someone like a very famous face who's been on
Right?
all of the major news networks come out and
Yep.
start talking about this wild stuff, like the RFK assassination,
Yep.
UFOs. He has no fear, just especially now that he's not linked to Fox, he's just
Yep.
fucking on a wild rampage in terms of this stuff. But again, he's not like going off the deep end. He's just saying what he thinks, and
Right.
that's why it's like it's really
It's refreshing to see.
exactly and the honesty. Like it's
Right.
that's really what I appreciate about it because look. So we were talking the other day about how like I actually think Billy Carson's like full of shit, kind of like a snake oil salesman.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I did enjoy his interview with Rogan, but you know, I really don't like when people talk in confidence about this stuff because no one knows what the fuck they're talking about when it comes
Right.
to spacecrafts. Even probably people that have allegedly worked on this stuff. Like no one
Yeah.
knows this, like where it comes from, all this other stuff. So when someone talks with that level of confidence, I'm like, all right, like you already lost me because
Yeah.
I can't trust you. Seeing someone like you know, both Rogan and Tucker Carlson, they both have a very good, I think, like logical way of viewing it. They're like, I don't know what's going on with it. But it's just nice to see public figures like that actually put some thought process to it. Now,
Definitely.
in terms of this UFO, like I've noticed. Well, I guess I can't really say that, but I was gonna say like most of these sightings happen in like really big metropolitan areas like New York,
Yeah.
LA. I haven't heard, but like Phoenix.
Yo.
Oh, my bad. My mouth. I
It's
have a
all
bad.
good.
My mouse has that thumb button on the side, and it just automatically backs me out. My apologies, guys.
It's all good.
Where I was going with that, like a lot of these big stories are from metropolitan areas, and I was gonna try to maybe like connect something there, but at the same time, like people see him in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, so that's not really somewhat. it's not really a valid point. Like Travis Walton, he got allegedly pulled off in the middle of a lumber area. So
Yeah.
you know, it's not really. I don't think it's really valid to say that. But
Yeah.
it's interesting to see like where the majority of these different big sightings happen. Um, this New York one again, not really. There's not really much to go on with it. I mainly wanted to just kind of cover the fact that there's another sighting, and that's the biggest point I wanted to take from this conversation is just like, yeah, like why are we seeing so many of them recently? Or is it like, are you in the basis of thought that it's because of our cell phones and that now there are more people seeing them, or do you think there's actually an increase in the amount that are coming into
It's probably a little of both, but I mean, to the degree that it's increased, I mean, it can't just be a cell phone thing. Everyone having a camera that definitely helps. But bro, it's hey, you never actually that might be a large part of it. You know what I mean? I don't really know, but it's happening. It seems like it's happening more, and it's constantly
yeah
happening.
yeah dude, and I think in terms of this, it could be that there were a select few of these like regular occurring crafts that were being shown and seen. Uh Sorry, I got thrown off by Star Wars Dogs comment. Well, tell her to relax. I'm gonna order. You know, I just moved out here. I gotta have some time to get out to get stuff into my room. I know it looks like a depressing spell back here. There is some
This is a
stuff.
white wall.
Yeah, it's still a white wall. I've got a Vader poster that I need to hang up and a Return of the Jedi poster, but I've been focusing on getting things that I actually need, like a bed, silverware, couch, that type of stuff.
It's all good. Don't look
That's
that bad.
yeah, exactly. Just a white wall behind. I'm in a jail cell, I guess. But no. So what I was saying is that I think there's a possibility that there were like a select few of these crafts that kept being seen throughout, like, since Roswell to well, I guess a little bit before that, like since World War II up until like maybe the late '80s, early '90s, that were like probably, I'm just gonna guess that like those were probably actual like anomalies in crafts. And I think the more we're seeing them are actually back engineered stuff. Because I don't know about you, Bob Lazar's story is like by far the most compelling story to me.
For sure. Yeah,
Uh,
he seems pretty legit to me. You know what I mean? People rail on him, but everything he said has pretty much checked out to, you know what I mean? Like, he stuck to his whole story all this time, and he's been proven right on a few different occasions from the stuff he said. So
well, and there's not one level of arrogance in his voice. So him and James Fox, I'd say, are the most believable for me. That's why I made an effort to put both of them into that new intro that I made, because like
yeah.
they're kind of like, I was thinking about putting in Jeremy. What's his name? Is that his name?
Oh,
Jeremy the
Corbell.
Corbell, yeah. Dude, but
Yeah,
that
yeah.
guy's like, he's more of a meme to me, honestly. I mean, we were laughing the other day about how like, every time he talks like on an interview, I want him to shut up and let the
Yeah, bro. He ruins it for me. Like, I'd just rather him not even talk or be there. You know what I mean?
exactly, like I'd rather him just connect people to Joe and not like so I
Yeah.
don't have to listen to him, like, because he talks with that level of confidence that I'm referring to. Now, so does James Fox, but I think he has a little bit more ground to do so.
Yeah.
He's been doing this shit for a long time. But
He's the one that did the documentary about the Brazil.
dude,
Uh,
oh,
that
that's
was
such,
James Fox, right?
yeah, it was the Varginha.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Dude, that one, I'd like to, and these conversations are so fucking fun. The like they're too big to cover all bases, in my opinion. These like major stories. I'd love to
Sure.
have you back on later to talk about that Brazil case. I think
Oh,
me
yeah.
and Jim talked about it in the past too, of revisiting that one. But like, dude, that's one of my favorite stories, news stories, and the way it ends is fucking gnarly. Like it ends with us or with the government of Brazil handing that stuff off to the U.S. government, and then it's a cold
Yep.
trail after that. Like
Yep.
I'm not shocked at all. I wonder what they said. I'd love
Yep.
to know
Some
what
of,
they said behind closed doors.
for sure. Some of the interviews from the people that witnessed it, uh, they're like breaking down in tears when they're talking about it. And it's
Yeah.
just it's just they seems like something happened. They saw something. You know what I mean?
Did you watch the documentary?
I've seen bits and pieces of it.
I tried to watch it, but I couldn't. I didn't have one of the. I forgot what streaming platform it's on. But at the time, I didn't have it, so I didn't watch it. But
I think I had to pay for it. It was like $3, $5, something like that, and I never even finished up watching it. But
hmm oh yeah, I think
yeah,
it's
it's a
actually on
crazy
YouTube.
story.
It is, dude. And the Brazil, yeah, that Brazil one is crazy. But like try. I'm gonna loop it back now to this case that's happened. So you've got two in New York in the past month. We had one like what 2 or 3 months ago in Miami. That one I think was all. I really don't know if that was an actual alien or not.
Sorry, bro. I cut out. My bad, bro. What were you saying?
You're good. We had. I was trying to loop it back to the New York incident here, but we had two in the past month in New York. We had one in Miami that I think is very questionable. I don't even know if I believe that it was like an actual alien sighting. I think that's too far fetched. I don't know what happened there. I'd like your thoughts on that in a little bit. But then we also had well, I was going to say Commander Fravor, but that actually happened in 2017. Oh, we did have, again, those. So okay, this actually brings up a good point. So I did that episode. I don't know if you watched it. I did that one podcast on the one in Afghanistan that looked like the probe droid from Star Wars. Did you watch that, or are you aware of
But
that
that
one?
was the jellyfish one, right?
The jellyfish, and then also the
Yeah.
Tic Tac and Commander Fravors. So, because there was that jet pilot other than Commander Fravor that saw something as well. I forgot his name. But so those three that I just mentioned they happened years ago, yet they're resurfacing this year. That's something that I also am like. It makes me think that there's another like deeper like conspiracy theory going on within the government. That like why are all these stories coming out now, along with other brand new sightings that are happening too? Like what do you think about that?
I think a lot of it is intentional. Especially the ones that are right in front of our face. Like easily on TV. Like not hard to miss. That type of stuff. Usually, pretty good sign that it's intentional. You know what I mean?
Yeah, to divert us from all the bullshit that's happening in the in the world right now.
Yeah. Or just to keep us distracted, not focus on things that maybe people should be more focused on.
Yeah, like the biggest election of our lifetime.
But with the
I'm like,
government thing, though, I go back to something Tucker Carlson said when he was talking about it, and because Joe had said something like he was pretty sure most of it was government stuff, that they just weren't telling us about, and Tucker was talking about all the things he had heard. The government is intimidated by these things. They don't have any control over what they're doing, and a lot of the officials he had talked to had pretty much said the exact opposite. Like, we can't control these things. They're making us change the way we're doing things and security because we can't stop them. We can't, So
so
that's interesting.
that actually brings me to. Are you aware of the Black Book? Like the
Um,
conspiracy theory of the Black Book that there's like it's like a level. It's basically government funding that is privatized through private companies that it's connected to I really don't even know much about it. I just like heard it on a surface level, and I think there could be something to go with that, and like why government officials that he's spoken to are concerned about this is because there's a level of like government funding that gets allocated to private companies to where it's
Oh yeah,
untraceable as to
for sure.
where this stuff comes from, and that's why you have a bunch of people at the very top level in Congress that are like, "The fuck are you talking about?" When they had what's his name, the guy that just did the hearing at Congress.
Uh,
I, for,
Dave,
I forgot.
David Gosh, David something.
Dave. Yeah, I think you're close. Dave. Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah,
But
I know what you're talking about.
I think this is why they like Congress wants it because now the like mainstream government is starting to be like, okay, well we can't really hide this stuff anymore. But then I like my tinfoil hat makes me think like, yeah, there are for sure levels of government where it's not known to the public or uh, regular everyday personnel within the government to be classified on this stuff or declassified on this stuff. I
Yeah,
think for a certain reason, that's why you also have people like Commander Fravor chasing um, a supposed UFO that very well could be a government piece of technology, and they're bringing it up to the highest chain of command that they can, and then they're even like, I don't know what the fuck that was, but there's a possibility that it came from the government, and you have this now just like sporadic, out of control, you know, bits of information that like are untraceable back to our
yeah.
government. 'Cause
I think a
another,
lot of the privatization, like you were saying, I think it's a lot of it is exactly that, just to keep it out of the government, bypass laws, do all that type of stuff, and so they can really have free reign to do what needs to be done, and they don't have to answer to anybody.
because look, I don't even think this concept we're playing with right now is isolated just to UFOs. I think there's shit in medical that like they're
Oh yeah,
probably
oh yeah,
backdoor, right? Like, oh well, we
yep,
can't. This is illegal to test it like this. Let's go through the back door. And I know a few companies, but this is where it ends. You don't get to know anymore past this. I'm gonna take this, and we've got the funding to do it, and we're gonna go test it over here, and we'll get back to you later, kind of a
yep.
situation. Which in layman's, I probably just butchered the actual process
No,
of
no,
like
no, no. You got it. I got you.
yeah. Yeah, dude, it's just I think there's a lot I think there's a lot of moving parts right now in terms of this whole UFO thing. To bring it back to this whole supernatural stuff that we were talking about. I really part of me really believes that there's like why we see interest like why do we see crossover. Tucker Carlson was just talking to this. Like we see crossovers between like supernatural visitations or fraternization is like the best word I guess I could come up with of like God's supernatural beings um,
Right.
interacting with humans in multiple different religions, and I think there is like probably some validity to that. That like there might be some shit that we just aren't smart enough to acknowledge yet.
We
As
literally can't comprehend it. Like other dimension, higher dimension type stuff that we literally can't
well,
comprehend. You know what I
do,
mean?
so did you listen to the latest Eric Weinstein interview with Joe Rogan that came out like last year? I think maybe during COVID even. Are you aware?
Uh, I might have, but I don't. I don't necessarily
So
remember it, man.
he's the mathematician, and he's come up with his own. I want to call it a mathematical theory, but essentially he thinks that there are through math, through like high level equations, he thinks that there are like 14 dimensions,
Oh yeah,
not just four. I think we're at five right now. He thinks there's
yeah.
14 of them, and he did it through mathematical equation and whatnot. And I'm too stupid to actually explain it, but you know,
I've seen multiple people break it down the same way he did too. I remember what you're talking about now.
okay, cool.
Yeah,
So how do we know? Like, okay, so if it's structured like that, and I think like visually, it like was a cube, not like a platform, right, with like 5 different dimensions. It's more of a 3-dimensional thing where you've got you don't just have dimensions going this way. You have dimensions going this way that are intersectioning with all. And again, I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's how he explained it.
Yep,
And
just stacked, like edge to edge, like stacked on top and next to. Yeah,
exactly. So who knows what different and then when you try to loop that in with someone like, I'm going to be very careful here, like Terrence Howard, right? Because
yeah,
like, dude, he was losing. I was driving home from Houston airport to College Station, and I'm listening to this thing, and I had nothing but time to just sit there and listen, and I was getting fucking lost. I'm like, and it was
yeah,
like it didn't necessarily sound like some of the stuff sounded crazy, but when he started diving into like, so yeah, I'm sure a lot of people are gonna want to call him crazy and like he doesn't actually know what he's talking about, all this other stuff. I'm not willing or able to actually judge that. But I do know when he's explaining the periodic table and how it functions, and then also able to just roll off the um like pi squared in terms of actual
yeah,
numbers. Like
yeah.
you have to admit a level of intelligence there, regardless of how
Oh,
you
for
feel,
sure. For
right?
sure, bro. The guy's intelligent. You can't talk about that shit he talked about and just so eloquently without being it. He understands what he's saying. You know what I mean? He might be wrong, but he understands what he's trying to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He knows what he's saying, and he
Well,
had some legit points, man. There was some really wacky shit that I just tuned it out as soon as he started in on it. But there were some interesting things that he said. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
even
bro.
Joe at the end of the interview was like, "I don't necessarily know I understand exactly what you're trying to say, but some of the things are very interesting. It's kind of the same way. You know what I mean?"
Yeah, I mean, like part of me got thrown off by him saying that he was conscious at birth. So I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
all right, bro. Like,
yeah,
I,
bro.
I already had my seatbelt buckled in, but I had to mentally do the same thing. Like, all right,
Right,
here we go. But my point was
right.
saying is that like, um, if what he was talking about with like, how like his theories on the universe, you like that kind of correlates a little bit with Weinstein's idea of like a multiple um like his idea of dimensions, like yeah, like and plus it's not even just Terrence Howard, like like there are astrophysicists that believe that like our whole universe like could be another like particle in a grander universe, right?
Yep,
So
yep.
yeah, it's
I
I don't
buy
know.
into a lot of that stuff, man. Like it's never ending. It just keeps going, and we're just inside of something else that's inside of something else that's part of something else, and it just continues going.
Yeah,
I
dude,
there's a lot of weight to that.
there is. It's a fascinating topic, and I think in terms of, I mean, we kind of went off the rails there for a second, but I think when you start to if you actually entertain the widespread sorry, excuse me. If you actually entertain the widespread um uh uh conspiracy like realm, like
Yeah,
you start to kind of build connections between other like topics, and that's where I kind of think this one where UFOs start to kind of intermix with like possibilities that like simulation stuff, right? Like that's
yeah.
another one that is very it's hard to grasp, but like I don't know, man. After listening to who was just on that they did the whole there was the Indian dude, the game designer. Did
Oh
you
yeah,
watch
yeah, yeah. The simulation theory guy. Yeah, I listened to that one. That was
Wild.
pretty crazy,
But
bro. That's the stuff that really interests me, man. Like that's cool. Like trying to dig and understand that shit, which is so hard to do in the first place. But it's like you said, it's you start digging into it, and it starts to feel connected to everything else, and you kind of start seeing it in other places.
Well,
And
for all we know, I love the way he explained it. Like for all we know, like UFOs could be it could be something that like we were talking about Red Dead the other night. It could be something that we like plug into Red Dead, like to a game that we're playing, right? And
yep,
like we have no idea what it is. We're just the AI walking around the
right,
fucking the map, and
yep,
you plug something in, and like maybe you see a UFO doing that, and then all of a sudden the next day there's a storm. But
yep,
previously we saw some UFO drop in or some sighting. I don't know.
yep.
I'm going real tinfoil hat right now.
No, but bro, that's, to be honest, like, to really dig into stuff like this, I feel like you have to be willing to let yourself go, like let yourself entertain those thoughts, even if you don't necessarily believe it afterwards or whatever. It may seem like the craziest, most fantastical shit out there, but entertain it long enough to research it. You know what I mean? And a lot of people aren't willing to do that, and they just shut down instantly and don't want to go down that route. And I think a lot of progress could be made if more people were willing to, you know, think that maybe these things that seem completely out of this world crazy, maybe they're true. Maybe they have, you know what I mean? Maybe they're tied to some kind of truth. And
Yeah, I know.
you start making progress and really allowing yourself to
Well,
learn more about whatever it is that's going on.
which is why I find it silly when people are like just immediately, oh, that's fake news, right? Like people,
Wrong. You're fake news.
I don't
it's
believe you. I don't believe
yeah,
you believe that. Yeah, it's so crazy. Yeah, I hate that
yeah.
shit, bro.
I hate that too, and I hate seeing it on a higher level, with
Especially on the higher level.
within institutions, right, where they won't even fancy the idea, and you call, when it like, oh, that's already been debunked. Like that to me gets fucking really irritating. Like when you see it in history and archaeology too. Like, look,
Yep.
I understand there are certain things. History is a little different, right? Like history, it's you've got multiple different sources, and you kind of take all the sources, and especially when you're dealing with hundreds and thousands of years ago. Well,
Yeah.
thousands of years ago is where it gets a little bit shaky, but hundreds
Yeah.
of years ago, you can collect sources and there's collecting material and put it together. Archaeology is different, right? Like that's
Yep.
like when people like Flint Dibble are coming around and being like, yeah, this is just completely wrong,
Yeah.
and that doesn't have anything to back it up. That's where I get like, get the fuck out of here kind of attitude.
Yep.
Same
For
thing
sure.
with Terrence Howard. He's sitting here like in science, you're supposed to question, right? Isn't that the whole point? You question and then
Right.
you create
Hypothesis. You do your test.
hypotheses.
Like, yep.
Exactly.
And then people review the results. Yeah, that's the way
Which
it
is
works.
why I get a little irritated with Neil deGrasse Tyson. Like I think he's very smart, obviously, like very much.
I lost. Yeah, I'm right there with you, bro. I lost a lot of respect for that guy. He
I used to listen to his podcast. I stopped because it's just like he's made it very clear that like and I think actually he has ill intent coming on to the Rogan podcast. I think he does it to try to like negate people from even thinking this stuff is true. Like he just comes in so but dude, like the
he was
science
like insulting with it. He was like
exactly.
insulting, like to the point where like he made you feel stupid if you even like brought it. You know what I mean? Like that's what did it for him with me, bro. I was like, man, whatever, bro. Like that's cool. I just don't fuck with him anymore. He just was like a pompous ass with it.
Well, not only that, he would like he was doing the same tactic that Flint Dibble was doing, but to Joe instead. Like okay, you're coming on someone's podcast. Like I get like there's no reason to be rude. That's the whole thing. It's like just
Right.
to just not entertain it at all. And then you have people like in archaeology, like Robert Schoch, who was a skeptic at first, and then goes to the places with Anthony West. I'm forgetting his full name. You know who I'm talking about though? The guy who
John Anthony West.
West. Yeah. So John Anthony West brings Robert Schoch out to the Sphinx, and they start seeing all this crazy anomalies within supposedly recorded science and history. And
Yeah.
he's like, oh shit! Like as a geologist, he's like, yeah, this is actually like, these don't match the surfaces, the
Yep.
erosion on these surfaces don't match, the head doesn't match. Like but you're
Yep.
taught these institutions, like they have a very good way of being like, what's known is known. You don't
Yep.
question what we've already proven. Yet, both in archaeology, history, and uh, science, they go back on their words eventually, and that's actually supposed to happen, in my opinion. As you evolve and as we get smarter as a society, you're supposed to be like, no, no, no. 100 years ago, we didn't have this technology, so we weren't able to know this, right?
Right.
But it's just funny watching it in real time, like people kind of getting lost and whatnot. Which is what, like,
Bro,
for all
it's
go
one of those universal laws, bro. Like it applies to everything. Like you can't make progress in life in anything if you're not willing to be 100% honest about whatever it is you're doing, even if it's wrong, so you can make the changes and move forward and do better next time or learn more, make progress. You know what I mean? And these institutions aren't, they don't care, bro. It's all, there's so much money involved that
yeah,
it's it's like an unbreakable shield almost at this point, where people, they've got people brainwashed like Clint Gibble, where they think they might be doing something, but they're just repeating the same narrative that they want you to think, and
well, it's
they've
that.
punished people for thinking outside the box, like the UFO thing. How many years, if you even said UFO to someone, you instantly, now they think you're some weirdo, blah blah blah, just because you wanted to talk about it. And people have been conditioned to react that way to shit that isn't supposed to be talked about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro, and like like the we like back in the 1940s, if you said that, you're probably like, oh, this guy's a whack job, right? Or even up until like the 1980s. But I mean, now it's pretty like the Roswell thing is like it's a very well known conspiracy theory, but I'm pretty sure now people there are a lot more people in these institutions that are like, that was a little weird, and it'd be interesting to see if something like that happened today. I think would just be covered up like immediately. They
For
just
sure.
wouldn't even entertain it because I again, bringing it back to what we were talking about before. I think there's we were talking last week. I think I saw you in chat about AI, and it's like the next race to the moon.
Yep.
I think I think this is like I think AI might be the like open public like race to the moon. I think UFOs are kind of the hidden one. Like if you see a crash like in Brazil, like we were talking about before,
Yep.
you want to be the one to collect all that stuff and then
Right.
do your tests on it, which is again I think why I'm compelled to believe a lot of Bob Lazar's story because he's not even sitting here like he doesn't even want the fame. Like it took him everything to even come onto that podcast. From what he says, and yeah, I think it's a very compelling story.
It,
I wanted to actually ask you. So, Dog saying, "What's the word on the Vegas story?" I don't think I've actually looked into that yet. I'm pretty sure that
is
was
that
something.
the one where the family, there was that crash and the family found whatever in their backyard? Is that what he's talking about?
I don't know, Dog. If you're still around, let us know if you're talking about that because that
I think that might be what he's
that
talking
the
about.
one you're talking about, I saw something about that like earlier
That
this
shit
year.
was crazy, bro. That story's crazy.
That story is crazy, but I think there was a more recent one. In fact, I'll just like look it up right now. I'm pretty sure there was another sighting in Vegas, like literally like this week or last week.
Uh, yeah, he might be talking about something else then.
No, no, but I know what you're talking about, Chris. I thought that one was wild. They saw like they heard shit in the background. I'm pretty sure the kid in the interview was like, "Yeah, I went and grabbed my shotgun."
Right. In the backyard, outside in the backyard, they saw something, bro. And you could see on camera the dog is like clearly reacting to something that's like threatening. You know what I mean? It's a crazy story.
Um, okay, dude. Even though we were doing the New York one, I'm gonna just present this because it got brought up. There
Go
was
for it, man.
one. There was one literally 2 days ago. Um, okay, so Las Vegas 8-foot aliens caught on camera were making emergency as experts.
I didn't hear
What
about
the
this, bro. I didn't hear
fuck?
about this. I
that?
didn't.
All right. Let's.
When did this happen?
Apparently, I mean, this article is from 2 days ago.
That's crazy. I didn't hear anything about this.
I'm gonna have to turn the volume on.
Fall down from the sky, and it was with light. And when I hit down, it was like a big impact, and we felt it. We felt like an energy, and then we hear like a lot of footsteps near us, and then we have a big equipment, and we see. And
Can you start it? Can you start it over real quick?
Yeah. No worries.
And another one.
I just want to hear what he was saying at the beginning.
Okay, lady. Me, my dad, and my brother, we're working on a truck in our backyard, and we have a big lot outside, right? Correct?
Okay.
We were working, and we just see in a corner of our eye something fall down from the sky, and it was with light. And when I hit down, it was like a big impact, and we felt it. We felt like an energy, and then we hear like a lot of footsteps near us, and then we have a big equipment, and we see, and there's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one's beside it, and it has big eyes and looking at us.
This is that story I was talking about. This is an old thing. This is an old story, but this is the one I was talking about.
No,
Like they legit saw something in the backyard. I recognized the mom in her bright ass pajama pants. At least that video that you showed.
I was gonna say I looked at it. This has to be the same one. But
there was a date on that.
Remember when I said
body cam, that cop's body cam.
So we were talking about this before, though. That no, I know what you're talking about. There was like a blue light from the body cam of the cop, right? That you see the beam coming down. I saw multiple when I was looking into this. I saw multiple perspectives of it. But what did I say? Like at the beginning of this, that there's a lot of older videos that are now resurfacing. Right?
Yeah.
And so again, another. It's so funny though. 10/12, June 24. Yeah. But this happened, if I'm not mistaken, like last year.
Yep. Yeah, this was crazy.
Jim, if I'm mistaken, let me know if there's a different story to look for. I don't know, man. Yeah, this one's wild. But
the dad and mom were like in tears talking about it. Like they, you can kind of get a judge of people if they're full of shit, if they're lying.
For sure.
You can kind of get a judge of people if they're full of shit, if they're lying. Oh, can you hear
me? This is like precisely what I was talking about. So as of 2 days ago, 1 day ago, and 15 hours ago, it's all the same article. But this story is not new. Yeah, this story is not new because I've seen that footage before too. It's just I find it funny that they're getting that a lot of these stories are being recycled. It makes me think there's some sort of a psyop going on. But,
there's definitely some psyops probably going on.
Yeah, man. Some wild shit, dude.
Yeah, once you dig into this stuff, man, it's if
can't
you're willing to keep going, you know what I mean? You got to be willing to go to deep places, and it's hard to stop once you get going, you know what I mean? It's interesting shit for sure.
No, yeah. And I've kind of like, for whatever reason, avoided the Anunnaki story.
Yeah.
It really did take me finally actually sitting down and listening to Billy Carson with Rogan, because I've tried to listen. Like I posted that one dude's channel. Fuck, why am I forgetting it? Because he's been going on a bunch of different podcasts. Hold on, let me find the guy real quick.
What's he talk about?
Danny Jones. Fuck. Have you looked into that guy's stuff before? I've posted it in that conspiracy tab.
Who is it?
Danny Jones.
Oh, You talking the podcast?
Yeah, the podcast.
Oh yeah. I've listened to some
Yeah.
of their stuff.
So that's actually where I found Billy Carson first. I just I started and I was like, I don't know if I can believe you or not.
Same. That's
So
where
I
I
didn't.
found them too.
Yeah, so I didn't finish it. But like what I was talking about with the Anunnaki is like I've taken a long time to actually like listen to it. It's fucking kind of very cool, and I understand why
That's
people like.
some of the wildest shit, bro. Like the Anunnaki is like S
Well,
tier wild. You know what I mean? Like with to really start going into that and like giving that any kind of credence, it's wild shit, bro. I'll even admit it. But it's
you
interesting given like how different we are from everything, and it's just it's something you think something happened. Why are we so
well,
different? Why, you know what I mean? Like
and the
it,
connection to Egypt is what really fucking gets me. Like that's where
right?
like all of my tinfoil mindset gets attracted to. I'm like, oh god, you start talking about Egypt and have some stuff to actually kind of like back it up. I'm like
I'm
I'm
all for
immediately
it, bro.
yeah, I'm
Yep,
immediately like diving in. And actually, I'd
I'm
love to do.
all for it because
I'd love
it is connected, bro. Like that, people wonder why. Oh, we can't replicate the same structure. We can't do it today. Well, why do you think we can't? Why? Because it was done. What if it was done with the wildest of wild technologies? You know what I mean? Some crazy ass shit, and the technology is gone. The people that did it are gone. So of
yeah,
course
I
we can't
mean,
do it.
when people try to say, "Oh, the whole pyramid building or the whole building of the pyramids has been debunked," that's when I'm really like cool. We don't have to talk about it then,
Yeah. Fuck
because
that, bro. It's the
there are,
furthest thing from debunked.
yeah, there are too many different and like look, I'm not even one of the type to be the first to say that aliens did it, but I know that they're just I've worked in construction. I know what it looks like when you use a circular saw into
Yeah,
wood and
yeah.
the beveled line. When you're seeing that in stone,
Granite, not just
I
stone, but
yeah,
granite.
granite and limestone, the hardest stones that we know today.
Yep,
When you see beveled cuts that can only be made through a circular saw,
yep.
and it was supposedly built 2,000 years ago.
The
Uh,
copper tools and shit. Yeah, right,
Yeah,
bro.
you lost me. Also, one thing that Billy Carson had said actually when they were talking about the pyramids on that one was that like the whole mud theory that they used mud to slide this like you would need more mud,
Yeah,
three times the more mud than of the mass of the pyramid, like to
yep.
actually do. And where did you get that mud? Like yeah, I don't know, man. And then
It
also
really, it really starts to feel like they're trying to hide something. They throw like explanations out there that are so fucking stupid, so retarded that like you're not even trying. You're just trying to get people to grab onto anything other than think about the possibility of something else being true. It just seems like the fact that they still stick with the narrative that it was a tomb, the pyramids were like a tomb, bro,
well,
that is absolute bullshit. You know what I mean? And they still try and slide that story through today.
I forgot who it was. I think it was Graham. Graham was talking. I think he was on one of the Rogans. He was saying how he's requested to go There's a known cavern beneath the Sphinx, and he's requested, and the government of Egypt has outright denied anyone outside of the Egyptian government to go below the Sphinx.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Yeah,
What
bro, they're not going to
what's
allow
under
any of that shit.
Yeah, what's under there? That's what I want to know. Like, the fuck's
There's
under this thing?
multiple places like that there. I've heard them talk about multiple hidden lockdown areas that no one's ever been that they won't
Well,
allow people in.
and my theory is like if they haven't figured out, or no, if they had something that they knew that they could back engineer down there, they'd be using it, and Egypt would be like the Egyptian army and military would be way more powerful than they are. Uh,
Right.
I think it's because there's something down there that they can't explain, and they'd have to backtrack thousands of years of history. And
That's exactly what it is.
that's what I
They
think.
they have no idea, bro. They have no idea what it is. They're so clueless, in my
Yeah.
opinion, on a lot of that stuff that they made up this bullshit story. They have to stick to it, and they don't allow any variation or any like people to see any of the stuff that's hidden, because if they let people see it, there's undeniable evidence probably down there that changes the entire course of the last who knows how long of history. You know what I mean?
I think what's below the pyramids, and this is I'm gonna just go full on. I think, dude, there below the pyramid is probably something that alters science, history, and archaeology all together at once. That they'd have to backtrack everything. But again,
I,
that's my
I
full
believe it, bro.
that's
I
my
believe
full
it.
conspiracy theory, like behind that. That like there's something there that like they have no idea any explanation, but they do know if they did this, they would be they'd be losing funding for everything that they do because they'd have to bring in outside like private entities to be able to
Right.
even attempt to explain what's going on. That's the only thing I can think of that's happening beneath the surface, right?
That's legit. I believe it too, man. I think the pyramids are something completely other than what they say they are. Whether it's like a power generator or whatever, they did something that we don't understand. Maybe starting to some of the people that are willing to do the work that are getting shunned, but I think it was some crazy shit, bro. And Egypt doesn't want any part of it, because if it comes out to be something different, their entire way of life is gone. Like,
Well, yeah, and then not only that, it's like think about the amount. I don't know. It's like yeah, like outside of the tourist attractions, like can you imagine all the amount of different countries that they can charge to have scientists come out and take samples and tests and all the
yep,
restricted areas that they allow people in. Dude, it's probably I'm sure they like I know how business works to an extent. I'm sure there are not only NDAs that they've signed, but like 50 like charges like $50,000 per person that comes into
yeah,
here so that like for preservation reasons or whatever, like dude, they're probably charging countries up the ass to come
right,
study these
yep,
these things that they happen to like when Africa got cut out into sections hundreds of years ago. They happen to get the most important
yeah,
ancient
yeah,
ruin. You know what I'm saying?
right, yeah. It's the truth,
I,
though, man. And
I,
they've milked it. They've milked it the entire time on some bullshit.
well, I have another theory that actually South America is going to become the next Egypt pretty soon, especially with the whole lidar stuff. And it's not my
Yeah,
theory, it's obviously Graham's, but like in terms of like business and whatnot, I'm pretty sure once they start really finding shit with the lidar and being able to like dude, there's probably ruins there that are covered up by the Amazon and just by jungle
yeah,
that that every country is going to want to know and dive into in terms of that history. If you could just get all the coca uh, uh, plantations out of there, right?
yeah,
Like, dude, there's
yeah.
probably shit underneath South America that like we would be baffled to understand. And
That's
I wouldn't put it past that we start seeing symbols of Egyptian gods and whatnot in
bro.
pyramids.
I was just gonna say that. You hear about the stories of them finding Egyptian hieroglyphics and stuff in the Grand fucking Canyon, bro.
Oh
Like,
yeah, here, I'm gonna pull one up.
it's. I'm telling you, to me, it seems like it will at some point, whatever was in Egypt, whatever helped build that culture was worldwide. Like, it's all over the world, and it's just so long ago that the shit's buried under. You
So
know,
I am just remembering this now. Oh fuck, it's not. I don't know if my internet's not working. But they found a sarcophagus, an Egyptian sarcophagus and tomb in Japan. What the
yep,
fuck is it doing in
bro.
Japan?
I'm telling you, man. that makes the most sense to me. At one point, it was a worldwide civilization. It was so advanced that in Egypt and that area was kind of the hub, but the civilization was worldwide. There's multiple places where they found similar artifacts and drawings, and it's it makes sense to me, man. And they're starting to find things that kind of lean towards that theory.
Oh yeah, dude, 100%. All right, I'm sorry, chat and Chris. I gotta take a leak so bad. I'll give me like 30 seconds. I'll be right back.
All right, I got to change my thing out too. All right. Yo, can you hear me? Can you hear me, chat? Am I live? Can you hear me?
All right, sorry about that.
No, you're all good.
Bruh, Japan. Yeah, let me try to find this because this is actually super fucking interesting. Dude, you know what's funny? This always happens when I do alien stuff. We always start with one area or story, and it just grows from there.
Because it's all connected, bro. It's all connected, man.
We can hear
You know
you.
what I
Yeah,
mean?
I'm sure. My bathroom's right next to that. I was fucking holding that shit like a motherfucker.
I think I remember Graham saying something in one of the interviews he did that they have basically have proof and lidar that there are things below the Amazon and below other jungles that they don't know exactly what it is, but they pretty much have proof that something is down there. Massive things are buried below the jungle.
No, that's from that's kind of where I got that idea from. And dude, sorry, let me try to find this real quick.
Yeah, people tend to think that like the shit just the world started 2,000 years ago. You know what I mean? We have no idea how far back this shit really goes in terms of, dude, the pyramids could have been built fucking 50,000 years ago. You know what I mean? We don't know. We just have an idea and they stick to a narrative or whatever. You know what I mean?
No, I totally agree. Oh, I thought y'all could hear me piss. I was like, God damn, that's embarrassing.
Oh, no, I had to
That's
change
funny.
my earbud. I asked them if they could hear me.
I was like, damn, I didn't know my bathroom was that close.
Yeah. Thanks, Pilgrim. Thanks, bro.
All right, let me try to find this because, dude, this was so fucking interesting. Okay, Egyptian, and I'll get back to what you just said about the lidar stuff because I think that's one of the most fascinating pieces of technology we have right now. Egyptian.
Well, even with stuff, similar things being around the world, bro. Look at the ancient stories and all the different religions from around the world, all having such similar stories. All that shit. It doesn't happen for a reason, man. All those stories go back so far, and a lot of them are worldwide. From every culture has the same story.
Well, okay, so all of this start like what's Graham's first book?
Fingerprints of the Gods or something like that.
Gods. I started with that book, and he talks about Quetzalcoatl and one of the Mayan gods, and they talk about basically Quetzalcoatl is known to be through the writings and whatnot is a like tall bearded white male in
Yeah.
Mexico, or not Mexico, but South America,
Yeah.
thousands
Yeah.
of years ago. And that's one of the points that that fucking dickface, what's his name, Flint, Flint Dibble was trying to call him racist for, right? And so like
Yeah.
it's complete bullshit. This is a really uh Pilgrim. This is a very kind of shady. This is the since we're live, I don't really want to spend too much time searching for it, but there was another article I found. But yeah, they found this tomb in Japan that had very similar aspects to Egypt through, and it's just and the one that I was reading a while ago. I don't know how that I clicked that. Oh, motherfucker!
Hello there.
What's up, buddy? I'm glad you can make it on the back end, brother.
Yeah, hell yeah. Figured I'd jump
Um,
in, and I believe the book you were looking for was Fingerprint of the Gods.
yeah, Chris had just said something about that. But
Awesome.
okay, Jim, have we talked about this before? The Egyptian they found. I'm pretty sure this is the tomb I was talking about, but they found a tomb in Japan with Egyptian hieroglyphs inside of it,
Yep.
which is fucking wild.
Yep.
Who? No, I have not heard about this. Who
Yeah.
brought this up?
I did. I found this a while
Well,
ago because I came across an article. But if you're asking who actually found it, I don't know. I just know that I heard about this. And this is almost like a whole other podcast in itself. I don't know if
Right.
I'd be able to find it. I'll just read real quick. Like the largest, most carved stones in Asuka is the Masuda no, I can't even pronounce that. The rock ship of Masuda, the stone carving which stands near the top of a hill in Asuka is 11 meters. Okay, that's just talking about what it is. I swear to God, I found something where they actually found a tomb and a sarcophagus with Egyptian hieroglyphs on it. I think I brought this up at one point, but we started this conversation because we were talking about LiDAR and Graham Hancock's, how he's been really pursuing LiDAR and whatnot in South America. And
Right.
I actually really believe, and he believes that a lot of the terrain that you see on the surface level of the jungle, where you've got these like high-rise mountains, he believes that underneath all of the sediment and plant life are pyramids.
Pyramid. Yep.
I think we're going to start seeing as people start. But the issue is that it's so hard to get to. These are remote areas of the Amazon. It's money, like, to be able to actually excavate all this stuff. And once you even, I think it's 30 years away minimum before we start excavating that stuff. But
it's not like there's roads. There's
I wouldn't be surprised at all if we start uncovering this stuff and you start seeing like Anubis on the walls. And that goes to what Chris was talking about.
I'm telling you, bro, when it's all said and done, years from now, 20, 30, 50, I think our idea of how history played out is going to completely be wiped out and become something new. You know what I mean? I genuinely believe that, because I don't think what we know half of what actually went down. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of this shit we hear is just bad information purposely fed to us.
Chris, I don't even think we've scratched an eighth of our history yet, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So, with all this, did y'all listen to the episode from yesterday with Billy Carson?
Yeah.
Wild, bro. Wild.
What the fuck?
So Jim,
you got to know how to pick through his stuff, bro. Like, he gets crazy as fuck, but if you know where his little pieces of good information are, it's kind of impressive shit.
So that's why I'm like mind blown, because I was following what he was saying, and the shit that he was saying was like, wait, this makes too much sense for me to
Right.
just be cool with
Okay,
listening
so
to this.
before
Right.
before we go on, Jim, there's that one guy that we talk about being a snake oil salesman. I forgot his name.
Stephen Greer.
Stephen Greer. So I think he's a snake oil salesman. I think he's
Oh, for
feeding.
sure. He's a government plant for sure, bro. He's
But
He's one of the ones that's designed to make all the other ones look like bullshit.
so
he's put out there to throw disinformation around everywhere.
he makes the rounds on all these other podcasts that we all listen to. Sean
Yep.
Ryan, Danny Jones, and so that's why
Friedman too, right?
yeah, that's why I thought the same of Billy Carson. Now I'm starting to, after watching the interview from yesterday, I think it's because like I had that thought process because Billy Carson is going on other people's podcasts that just aren't as good at interviewing. And the
Right.
way Joe Rogan kind of just let him do his thing and talk,
Yeah.
whereas all the other people that they jump onto on the other, Sean Ryan's pretty good about this, siphoning the bullshit too.
Sure.
But most of the podcasts I've watched with Billy Carson, they kind of just let him ramble, and they don't
They're
have
out of their depth with
yeah, they don't have a focal
Right.
point, and they don't really know this stuff like you were saying. So I always get the impression like, oh man, like this guy's like no one's pressing him or asking the correct questions. So I just immediately believed I'm like, because like look, if you're gonna dive into this stuff, I think like how both of you have, you should have a healthy level of skepticism. You should be
Right.
able to dissect what they're saying. A lot of these other people, they'll just start like letting these guys talk and be like, oh,
Right.
they're almost like seal clapping to him. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm immediately.
You have to, bro. You have to have the skepticism because if you don't, you're just going to end up in the situation we're already in. Just
Well,
buying a bunch of bullshit, you know?
If your explanations or theories can't be challenged and hold up to that challenge, that automatically means it's bullshit. Like if you
Right.
can't support your claims, then that's what's always been funny about like the Graham Hancock and the silencing culture from academia and other outlets, media. Like if you can't allow debate because you disagree, if your answer is just a silence, like how good is your argument then? Maybe you really need to
Right.
self-reflect on your ideologies or your perceived history. Like if you're so threatened by the chance that there was indeed a advanced civilization tens of thousands of years ago that achieved a level of technology that we can't even conceive. If that notion scares you so much and you're not even really willing to debate it, you just want it to be silenced because you call it dangerous.
Yeah. It's because it challenges their way of life. You know what I mean? Believing that or proving that to be true
Well, and this kind of
changes them, changes the way they live, changes their money, changes everything, and they're not willing to go that route.
Well, they have books and seminars on
Right.
topics. Yeah.
I think this is similar to literally Tesla, not Elon Musk, but actual Tesla, right? Like, and what he was able
Nikola
to
Tesla.
do at his time, and I personally believe he was murdered because of what he was able to figure out at that time. And
Yeah, I was going to bring that up earlier, bro.
No, we got a new one.
So I will say, happy accident with mine. It's ear piercingly loud, which adds an element to it.
Bro, I'm trying to save our listeners' eardrums a little bit, but yeah, like I personally think this motherfucker was murdered because he was. They already had a route for our grid. Like they had it. They didn't know what it was going to turn into, but they knew they could sell it. That we're going to start running wires. It was super dangerous the way they were doing it. Now I do know being in because like when I went to trade school, we actually we had a chapter on Tesla and his way of energy, and it really was dangerous the way he was doing with the Tesla tower. That could kill you because, especially with what we're doing right now with electricity, if it was free floating through the air, essentially is how he planned it. Like these wouldn't exist because they would take power, and we have obviously these take a small bit of power, and the grid or like the our internet and whatnot is at a different point, and it gets sent through waves, like wave signals, whereas Tesla's energy was through the air. So if you had a belt on,
It was
you'd get
waves too, just different.
right. But like if like we have a belt, like you'd basically attract current, walking around. So it was dangerous, but the fact that he was able to figure something like that out at that time,
Yeah.
su- you know,
Also, what an interesting route to go down if that would have been the established norm. Like, yeah, okay, our cell phones, Wi-Fi, cell service, all that would be entirely different. But what would it look like if we did go with wireless energy and they actually figured out how to efficiently do it? Would
well,
would our
we would
They,
government?
essentially go on, Chris. Go on. I've been
I was
rambling.
gonna say whatever he was doing, they felt threatened enough by it to like they wiped him out, basically cut his funding, and just literally chopped his legs out from underneath him, so he couldn't do anything anymore, and ended up dying broke.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like the guy who made the car that runs on water somehow.
For sure, that too.
I,
He was doing something that they realized they couldn't make money off of or whatever, couldn't control, and they'd shut it down.
What do you think, Antonio?
bro, you're so much better with these clips that I have. I wanna. I have this one that like I need to make you aware of. I don't know when we can use that.
I think that could apply from time to time.
Bro, what the fuck? It's crazy.
The fucking mummy. But what I was saying is, I think because you'd ask what our life would look like if his technology came through, we would all legitimately have to be wearing transformers. So like transformers either step up or step down electricity current, or electrical current. So like we would have to have like wrist rings or something that like
Bracelet. Yeah.
yeah, gold or whatever, which brings us back to the fucking Anunnaki man.
Right, right.
But
Crazy.
that's what I think would. It's hard to speculate what it would look like life
It's
would look
kind of
like
like
right now with
speculating
this.
where AI is going. Like,
But
it could go anywhere.
we would have to have a way like if we just had like I think also in terms of just like visual like we'd have to have Tesla like how we have light poles. There would probably like Tesla towers would probably be along every single street like the way we have lights, and they would probably emit light and emit power at the same time.
I
So
bet there's a parallel universe where this exists.
Yeah.
let me read
Me and
this
my
off.
wife were talking about that kind of concept earlier too, of just the possibility. Oh God, because the Billy Carson was they started talking about that and the size and the scope of things and the possibilities of multiple universes and um, multiverses and quantum
Right.
realm.
Well, and Jim, I don't know if you were listening when we brought up Eric Weinstein's theory of like a cubic dimension system
I think I
where
remember that briefly. Yeah.
yeah, it's layered vertically, horizontally, and then
Yep.
also like three dimensionally. So you have all like it's like a
Right. You
cube.
have X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, exactly. And then in between, and then multiply. So like yeah, I just wild stuff. I want to quickly read Dave's comment. Can you
Mhm.
imagine if in South or Central America using lidar they find evidence of people that make no sense or changes who the natives are? certain people would allow it to come to light. That's pretty funny. And then this one too is good. Look how much the establishment tries to shut down, discredit Elon Musk, and he's the richest man in history. Yeah, that's kind. I was gonna
There's a
try to
captured. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say I was gonna try to relate Elon Musk to Nikola Tesla, but it's very different. Like, I think he's doing groundbreaking stuff, but he's not changing civilization yet. Until he figures out his until he's figuring out or changing until he is successful with what he's doing with rockets, I don't think he's like changing civilization just yet.
You realize he knows he has the platform, though. You know what I mean? He pokes at the establishment every once in a while and kind of lets them know the audience that he has. He reaches a lot of people. You know what I mean?
Well,
So
also,
he could do some good, but you're right. He's not necessarily changing the world.
but I'm
Has
gonna
the
go.
power.
I'm gonna go back on what I was saying for a second, and if he also figures out, so okay, two really major things we need to consider with Elon Musk: the ability to send a rocket into space and then bring it back. That will change civilization.
Right.
And he can succeed 95% of the time if he can send a rocket up far into space and bring it back. Civilization has changed, and then also the neural link, because he plans on, like, you don't have to speak. You're plugged in. You're on the grid. You're infinitely smarter. You don't have, again, like, you're curing blindness, speech impediment, all of this other stuff. Being paralyzed. So, like, if he can actually pull that off, he's changing civilization. Until he does these, he's very close. And I guess I kind of agree with what Dave's saying. Then, like, if he actually succeeds with this stuff, follows through with it, he's 100% that on board to get blacklisted and fucking shot and get killed or
I
die
think,
dying of a car crash, right?
I think we know what he would have to say about that.
Go yourself. But go yourself.
Right. And love or hate the guy, though, that is the type of attitude, bro. You have to be
Right.
willing to sit in front of the world and tell everyone to fuck off and not, you know what I mean? That's what it's got to be, because the last dude who commented talking about, like, the regular person doesn't really stand a chance. It doesn't have to be that way, though. You know what I mean? The regular people can make a difference. You just, everyone has to decide that they're gonna go that route. Everyone has to be together on it.
And behind closed doors, I'd like to know who his friends are and who his enemies are, because on one hand, you have the media trying to fucking hang him by the neck, and then on the other hand, he asks, "Hey, can I start building a tunnel beneath LA?" Go ahead, right? So it's like, who's, like, I wonder if he has just privatized organizations under his influence, and it's the government that's like, "Hey, fuck you," or if it's a mix of the both. Like, I'm interested by that, because, like, dude, I work in construction. I know permits aren't easy to come by, like, for building, sure, but, like, if you're trying to build tunnels beneath cities, you need to know the right people. You need to be vetted in that sense. It's
Go to
very
Gaza and figure out how they do it.
I'm sure he's tapped into the people that he needs to be tapped into, I'm sure.
Yeah. I wonder, is he affiliated, Jim?
Couldn't tell you. My mic is probably better now.
Just what he did with Twitter, though, how he changed that from the fucking left-wing cesspool that it was before, just that alone, the other side hates him for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Bringing back a little bit of freedom, you know what I mean? Because that Twitter was a shithole, just full-on left-wing shithole beforehand.
Well, and you know what's funny? The only people that are complaining about Twitter on Twitter are those left-wing kind of
people who said they were going to leave.
Yeah, they're all, "God, this is such a shithole. This is such a shithole website or whatever." And then at the same time they're collecting money now from him. It's like
Right.
I find that so funny. Like
Yeah.
Anyone that's gonna be willing to stand up and like take that kind of position, you're gonna have to be willing to walk through some shit to get there if you really believe in whatever it is you're doing. You know.
Yep. Yeah. What happened to Threads? I don't know.
oh shit, me and you both clicked on. This is my
We
channel.
did it at the
Dog,
same time.
don't touch my chat.
Don't make me come over there.
So Jim, what are your thoughts on this this New York UFO situation?
Man, I didn't catch the beginning part of what you were talking about with it, to be honest. So
I think
still missed
basically myself and Chris both agree that it's a. We basically talked about like if is it. I think we both think there's a mix between it being it could either go government technology or actual UFO, and that there's like we covered a lot too about how there's a rise in these stories happening, and then recycled stories as like the Las Vegas one you brought up. I'm
Yeah.
personally in the camp that it's not clear as to whether it's a government technology or if it's a UFO.
Yeah. I feel like that is the current like safe logical road to be on now, considering all the UFO and UAP subjects currently. But I don't know, man. That image was I just kind of went back in your live stream. That image is quite blurry, of course, like they all are. But I don't know.
Well,
It gives me pause as well that it gets brought to the forefront so easily now.
One thing we
Can't
talked
help
about.
but think there's a motive.
One thing we talked about was that we had just the amount that we've seen in the past year rising, and we brought up the a month ago there was one seen from a passenger in a domestic flight from an airplane. So I don't know. I think this is stuff to consider when you're actually dabbling with this with this topic.
Well, and plus, how much of it is the fact that you can't really hide anything anymore? Information moves so freely, so they just put it out instead of trying to hide the shit. They just put it out because people are going to see it anyways. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you could certainly water it down by overexposure too. People will no longer pay attention to it if it's in the news all the time,
right?
And it's brushed aside like it's nothing.
Well,
turns into a tabloid story.
That would actually push me to consider the government theory more so. The more they're pushing it out, the more it gets watered down, the more eyes are off of it, because people who are already inherently skeptical will just be like, oh, this is all fake. And then they have more time to fuck around and back engineer whatever they have.
What's your opinion on Grush?
Chris, why don't you go first on that one?
I don't really know, man. Like most people I've heard talk about him, they say he's legit, and he sounds legit, but at the end of the day, he came from inside the government. You know what I mean? So you can't. There's no way to really know. You know what I mean? He said some pretty cool shit, and he did it under oath, which doesn't really mean shit, anyways. But he seems like he knows what he's talking about, and he's seen some things that isn't just the standard like government back engineered technology. Like there's something else that they had. Like all this back engineered technology, it might belong to the government, but it came from technology. You know what I mean? It came from something else originally.
I think the biggest red flag about Grush is that he was given clearance to go do that hearing. He was given clearance to go talk on other public podcasts.
But painting himself as a whistleblower.
Yes, but he's not necessarily a whistleblower in the traditional sense. He literally had to go get it cleared. Can I go talk about this? And the government told him, you can go talk about this, but this is how you're going to frame it. That's what throws me off. I'm like, I'd much rather listen to someone like James Fox and Bob Lazar and even Jeremy Corbell before I would listen to or at least trust.
I don't know Jeremy Corbell. That's a tough push, but
So is that who y'all were talking about earlier? Because I like listening to him when he gets with Joe.
So me and Chris were laughing. Like whenever he gets with Joe, he's always with a guest, and I'd much rather listen to the guest that he's bringing.
Right. Yeah. If it's just Corbell by himself isn't bad. But when he's with a guest, he's always trying to steal the fucking spotlight.
Yeah. Or set them up. Like it's a very clear. Like I'm gonna tee you up to talk about this.
Right.
That's where I'm like, just fucking get on with it, you know.
Yeah,
but,
so it feels rehearsed.
Yeah, but look, at the end of the day, he gave us I'm pretty sure he gave us both the James James Fox and the Bob Lazar stories or interviews. So like I'll
gotta be thankful for that. Yeah.
I do, because those were some of the best like alien conversations I've listened to, and it's funny because he's just kind of, I think he's kind of a goofball, and like he's good at filmmaking. Obviously, he does a really good job with that stuff. But at the same time, I'm like, he's more. I said it before. He's more of a meme to me. Like he's funny to like. He's more of like the Giorgio guy. The aliens, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought he came recently. I can't.
I think the last one he did was with James Fox, if I'm not mistaken. You know which one I would love to?
I think it was George Knapp. It might have been George Knapp. The last one that he did.
You're right.
You're right. You're totally right.
Yep.
I think I'm not 100% sure.
No,
you're say real quick my thoughts on David Grush is.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like Chris was saying, he's coming from the government, and it's just like whether you think that all these things are foreign, like UFOs or like alien UFOs or drones of some sort, military programs. I think it's I have to approach him like the same kind of way. Like it's either he's got really cool insight and somehow got approved to share this, or has taken it upon himself to share this and clear it to the best of his abilities.
Yeah.
Or they're handing him a script and throwing him out there.
Right.
Yeah, it's really hard to weed that out, siphon through the bullshit. That it's very difficult, in my opinion.
Anyone coming from the government, it doesn't matter if it's that Elizondo guy or they're all. It's all. I don't instantly have a high level of distrust for anything they bring to the table.
Well, and Jim, you like, I mean, you were in the military, so like you know how the government already operates on a different perspective than most people can.
I don't know how they handle media, though, to be fair.
No, that's fine. But like, you do have more of an in-depth idea of at least how they operate, and I would say that there's some blending of that, whether it's media or you're doing operations overseas. There's a level of like it's structured always. So if you're getting clearance for something, I have to just like immediately come in with the interpretation that like there's a level of control.
How many black lines are in this memo that you're giving me? You know, like how many redactions are in there? How many
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know, man.
I feel like the UFO stuff and the back engineered technology getting to the point where I feel like that's what they want us to go with. I think there's something else that they something else is going on that they don't want anyone to question. They'd rather us go with the UFOs and the classified technology, because whatever else it is, they don't understand it. They have no control over it, and it terrifies them to a point where, like Tucker was talking about it, and he said like he was digging around and started to find out some really crazy shit, that it was something supernatural more than that, and got to a point where it terrified him so much. It terrified him so much that he didn't want to know anymore. He stopped digging around because he couldn't live this day to day comfortably knowing what that shit it really is. Well, that's fucking crazy. That's crazy.
I've heard. Did you watch the Sean Ryan Tucker Carlson one? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about the Joe Rogan one.
This was on Rogan. The one I'm talking about was him on Rogan.
Yeah.
Regardless, both of them were fucking mind blowing.
I got some catching up to do with Sean Ryan, but
he's had some fucking incredible guests. Me and Chris were just talking about that like watching his show blow up has been, because he was already had he was at 1 million viewers when I watched, but like he's been getting some huge like high caliber guests on. It's fucking sick watching that happen. I think it's inevitable. Like there, I mentioned to Chris that like I'd love to see Sean Ryan on Rogan just to get him being interviewed would be fucking incredible. Dude, I think if you do catch up on Sean Ryan, you need to watch the Tucker Carlson one first, because he goes into his like sobriety story. That shit
crazy, fucking crazy.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna like bring it up because it's just dark, but like it's fucking great. But you know it. Yeah, I just
to circle back to Grush and the perception of this. We could also perhaps throw out there that that this is a little bit of like just giving us a teaspoon, a little bit, making it easier to digest, kind of breaking the news to you softly and slowly. It could be that. That's a fun way to look at it, I suppose. I don't think so. But.
Jim, I think one theory I always fall back on is that there's some galactic federation out there that we are pawns in, and like
they have a Japanese accent, or
no, two of them. Like
this is getting out of hand.
No, I really do believe that though, with the amount of different crafts that are out there, where you've got the cubes and the pyramids with orbs around them, you've got pills, you've got saucers, pretty much. You've got rectangular ones. I think there are multiple different, and this is full tinfoil. I think there are multiple different planets, species that are all kind of surrounding us. The government probably does know what's going on, and there's some sort of I don't want to call it war, but there's a fight for our use, because they know we're not stupid, but they know
you're cooking, bro. You're cooking now. Keep going.
This is like legitimately what I think, that there's like they could use us in some way, and if they just let us, like it's almost like a farm, like how we do farming with like biological farming with different products. Like they see something with us. There's a use for us. They're all fighting for that. I think there's like how we have government, there's a reason why we have structure and order. There's a larger
supernova. That's just systems being erased.
Right. That's where I'm at right now. That there's a larger kind of plan outside that we can see, and to connect it back to what you were saying, they know this. They're spoon feeding it to us because they know if we, with all of our level of like religion and the amount of religions, they know that like most of us couldn't take it unless you've already accepted the fact that we're not alone. But as you can see from institutions, most people can't accept that like we are not the sole purpose or intelligence.
Not autonomous.
Yeah.
And I buy a lot of what you're saying, bro. I pretty much agree with you, spot on everything you said. in
It's
terms
not
of
outside of
other
the
stuff
realm.
being here. Like there's stuff that's here that's been here before we were here. Like, you know what I mean? I'm pretty confident in that. There's other things here at work besides us, and whether
Well,
it's multiple species, but there's definitely something here that's been here for a long time. I believe that shit.
and before you guys take it over, the reason why I haven't done a Giants one yet is because I kind of want to formulate my own opinion on Giants, but it's basically towards the direction that Giants are actually like the pre-existing species, or one of the species that I'm talking about, that are here and interbred with us, which is why
Yeah.
like you have
Well, we
smaller.
know there were actual hobbits too. So
But this is my point. I think what actually happened is connecting to like the hieroglyphs you see of in Egypt of like larger. Like, there's a hieroglyph of a larger being connected like by a line or engraving to a smaller one on their lap. You have the Anunnaki talking about breeding with or taking some of their DNA to the other one. And then you have stories of actual giant, like retarded giants up in the hills of Afghanistan. And
Yeah.
I think those are like byproducts of
Greek.
failed experiments. Like,
There's a lot
so,
of Greek mythology around it too.
yeah. And, you
I
know,
like to tie that into dragons because I think there's a good possibility that
oh, we're
dragons
going to get
were
out of
real.
the
Bro, why not? Why
And if
not? There
they
were
were a flightless
fucking
lizard,
dinosaurs, big
not
ass
flightless.
dinosaurs. Why not dragons? You know what I mean? It's not that different.
If they were able to fly, that would mean their bones were hollow. And hollow
Right.
bones are very hard to fossilize, especially if it's not as old as we might think. Because dragons go back, a lot of the talk, this will be a separate episode, but a lot of the talk is recorded alongside of humans. So
Right. In all the
So,
different cultures over the world, dragons are in all kinds of stories.
so
fucking nuts.
I think we need to have a full conversation on this. The little I'll say is
Mythical
that
creatures one.
I think I personally, yeah, for sure. I think the whole idea of dragons and why we see it in both like European cultures and Asian, like China and stuff, is because there were like large birds that were. It wasn't. They weren't breathing fire, but when they dropped.
Representations of destruction. That's
Bro,
all it was.
exactly. When
Yeah.
they dropped down and started picking off people, like built like fires that were already built spread because the destruction. Like that's what I'm saying. But again, we could dive into that one for another 2 hours.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Let's dial. This
Maybe
one.
maybe that's the next episode. We get into
I would
possible
totally
creatures.
I would totally be down with that one. I've been meaning to do the Giants. I see. This is what I love about this. The aliens conspiracy shit that I started. It's like we could. This is an endless pool of conversations that we could have.
For real. That's the best part about it.
I would love to have both of you on for the Anunnaki one.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe next week we dive into dragons. I would.
That one, my head still hurts from like starting to learn about that shit today.
Yeah, the Anunnaki shit gets deep, bro. That shit
I'm
gets
gonna have
deep.
to listen to Billy Carson again and maybe look into it further. But holy shit!
Well, then, if both of you are free next week, I'd love to do a dragons one, and we fuck around with that because that there's so much history about dragons. Like we could, dude. What you guys think? What I'm saying is rational? Like it's just giant birds that were coming down and fucking shit up.
Bro, I fully buy it. Like I said, bro, there's fucking dinosaurs. People believe in dinosaurs, but think dragons sounds crazy.
Well, there were 100% Thunderbirds. Like those were real. They were humongous. So
Bro, I buy it.
And they actually would snatch people.
Wait, what's a Quetzalcoatlus? Is that the big ass what's the fucking the gecko looking thing that lives in water? Is that what I'm thinking of? Yeah, there's a giant Japanese lizard that lives a newt. It's like a giant newt. It's huge. It's like its head is bigger than our heads. It's giant. It'll fuck you up too.
Oh, salamander. It's a super big salamander, right?
Okay, I'll yeah. Did the cat's a thing that he's talking about? I believe so. It's a water dragon essentially.
So whatever that Pokemon is called, I forget.
Oh,
Yeah,
apparently it's a flying reptile the size of an airplane.
a pterodactyl.
Holy shit!
That's right. Respect the P.
So apparently it's this thing.
Oh, it is a
Yeah,
pterodactyl.
fuck, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. I mean, okay, so we have the closest thing to this that we know of is as a fact is that the great eagle. I forget the actual
Thunderbird, bro.
bruh. The great eagle stands something like 4 or 5 feet. That thing easily could pick off a baby.
The
Like,
question is, why couldn't they just ride the eagle all the way to Mordor?
I mean, they probably did at one point.
Bro. Oh shit. That's fucking funny, bro. That's funny. Don't ruin that
And they
fucking
were
movie
already
for
on
me,
the
too.
fucking thing.
That's funny.
On other news, Rings of Power is coming out soon. I'm just fucking.
Bro, I didn't even watch the first season.
I did too.
Trying to
I
trigger
watched-
some people that'll watch this.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was doing. Yeah, that was a complete joke. We don't have to talk about that.
What is it?
But yeah, man, I think the dragons would be a great episode for next.
Dude, I'm down. Anytime, bro. I'm down.
Sick. Yeah,
But we gotta do it. We gotta do an Anunnaki episode, though.
We can. Hopefully, if I think Jim's talking to the wife, but I'd like both of you guys there for that one because I think that would be a fucking great conversation, and we could
Oh yeah, man.
we could make that one stretch for a while.
Yep.
You know, because like I was talking about before, I've always avoided Anunnaki because it's like that's deep end UFO alien stuff.
Yep.
So like I never really wanted to bring myself there, but as you can tell, like I'm like fully in this stuff. I think it's time that I actually like go into it. And if I'm not mistaken, the green tablets or the emerald tablets are
Yep.
connected to this, correct?
Yep. Those are crazy too, bro, because those were pre-Bible, pre all that, and all that shit's connected back to those. All the stories from the different religions all are based off of that. And
So,
each religion just chopped and took what they wanted from them.
Chris, I have a theory that the 10 Commandments were actually based off the Emerald tablets. Is that far off, or
I think a lot of it was, if not most of everything, was passed down into stories from those, and just changed, names changed, this changed, that changed, but it all is based off of those stories. I can't do it justice and break it down, bro. Billy Carson is a lot better at it, but he makes it make sense. You know what I mean? And that's what originally got me with him. I thought he was fucking crazy too, bro.
Even
but
Terrence Howard like opened my eyes to a bunch of shit that I didn't really consider.
Bro, we were talking about that before. Like, bro entered chat. Like, I was conscious when I was born, and I immediately had my skeptical glasses on the second he said that.
Me too.
The furthest he got into it, I was like, or the further he got into it, I was like, holy shit. I'm like, bro.
Dude actually knows some things.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You if you're gonna approach everything with the healthy skepticism, you also have to be able to, like, you know, if something comes through that seems legit, you gotta acknowledge that too. You know what I mean? It's a give and take.
You got to be measured. Measured is the point, right? You don't be closed or overly open to anything. Just
No, but dude, it's a wild it's a wild theory. The Emerald Tablets alone could be its own conversation, but I think doing the whole Anunnaki is really important because the Book of Gilgamesh, what is it called? Biblagesh? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Gilgamesh.
Gilgamesh. So when he was talking about that, I was like, why has no one made this a science fiction movie yet? Like titled The Book of Gilgamesh. It could do it. It would be one of this. It would go so hard. You've got gods fighting each other over Earth. I mean, I
The
don't
Book of
know.
Eli. So
Yeah, dude,
I
put
think
him in
the
the-
flood, the like Noah's Ark flood is tied to that story. I think too.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
yeah.
Bro,
I would love
shit's
to do
wild,
that
and we don't
episode, but
understand anything.
honestly, I would want to be able to bring up all the interesting stuff. So I'm gonna want at least like a few weeks to like actually dive into it, like know what I'm talking
That
about
one,
to an
that one
extent.
might require some notes.
Hey, there's
Exactly.
another guy. There's another guy. His name is Matthew LaCroix, like LACROIX, I think it's spelled. He is like Billy Carson without the annoying shit. He breaks it down. He's super knowledgeable
Oh,
in all that old shit and
Billy
Anunnaki stuff too.
Matthew
Matthew
LaCroix.
I think that's. I'm pretty sure that's his name.
Oh, is he? Is it this dude?
Yeah, that's him. Yep.
All right. I'll
Okay.
watch some stuff on it.
He was on. What's his face? Danny Jones has a buddy that has a podcast also. It's can't remember the kid's name.
Well, if you
Uh,
later tonight, link me because I'll start watching this shit.
yeah, I'll send you some links, bro. He's interesting though. He breaks it down pretty well too.
All right.
So
Yeah,
should
I'm gonna.
we intend on doing a creature podcast or
Yeah, honestly,
Anunnaki?
I'm kind of down to do the dragon one next week, and then this gives me time to like actually watch some stuff about the Anunnaki. Because like again, I just scratched the surface of the Anunnaki, and I'm immediately like hooked on this, and I understand why people are. Because like, dude, there's some like the whole gold fascination, and then it's backed up like the whole obsession over gold for us as jewelry
Makes
is
no sense.
interesting. But on top of that, like me working in the electrical field, gold is probably the most vital mineral or metal to
Silver's
conduct.
actually more conductive.
Gold is, from what I understand, the highest conducting mineral.
Nope.
Crazy,
But gold
bro.
is, but gold is what's used. So, I was always taught gold was like in trade school. So
I don't think so, man. I really don't think so. At least that's what I heard. Yeah, pull it up, Jamie.
oh, you're right. It's silver. It's silver. Um, so I guess I'm gonna quit my job. I'm no longer a decent electrician.
Oh.
Don't worry, I got him.
Yo, don't ever do that. Don't ever do that to me again. I swear to God.
Shut your
No,
mouth.
but
Shut your mouth. Shut for one
um,
You did this. You gave me power.
yeah. Now.
Bro, that fucking clip kills me, man.
It's hilarious. I was watching The Mummy the other day, and I was like, "Fuck, I gotta take this scene. This is hilarious." No, but I'm sure there's something to do with what we are, like the mine ability, and that if that's even a word, like the ability to mine gold, like the abundance of it. Sure, that has something to do with why we use gold over silver. Well, and also I'm thinking too, is silver a natural forming metal, or is that a
Yeah,
compound?
element. Yeah.
Huh.
It's on the periodic table. Yeah, it's not an alloy or anything like that. It's a
Yeah, that's how
naturally occurring element.
yeah, I wonder why but again, like yeah, why are we that actually
And
contradicts the whole
honestly, copper's
on-
even more conductive than silver. Even like that's what's interesting about the gold stuff is because practically and
well,
like you can't make weapons out of like especially early humans, right? What was the purpose of gold and even silver? Like they're weaker, they dent very easy, they're not very strong. You can't make weapons or good armor out of it. Like even in Minecraft, they're garbage. They break really easy.
Yeah. So okay, I want to correct you there because I confirmed it here. We use
Okay.
copper. We use copper based on its mending ability and its
Oh.
yeah. So silver as a conductor in terms of the like transferring current is much stronger, but it's not. You can't bend it as much.
Not as malleable.
Exactly, which is why all of our buildings are wired with copper. Is
Chris fell
because
down over there.
it's easier to work.
Right.
But yeah, that was just my quick. Well, actually,
Right. Okay. Very good. We, we need to get that clip, by the way. Well, actually,
yeah. Well, from what?
young Sheldon or some shit. Yeah. Well, shit, man. It's been fun. Sorry, I missed the beginning there. But,
Nah, you're
Hell
good.
yeah, bro.
We're almost at 2 hours, so I think this is a good stopping point.
We definitely got to do this more often, though, man. I'm down. Whatever. Cool.
100%, Chris. You will be getting the links on regular because this was just a fun time, man. Next
Yeah.
week, let's plan on the dragon stuff. I'm gonna just probably do some just picking out some stories from other cultures, Europe and China, because that's mainly where dragons are seen a lot. And yeah, let's do a little supernatural creatures podcast next week.
hell yeah.
Thank you everyone that stuck around with us. This was a fucking super fun time, and
Thanks for having me on, bro. I really appreciate it.
of course, man. It was a long time coming, to be honest. You've been showing up on a lot of
Yeah.
these, like every
Been
single one of them.
chat about it.
Yeah.
Hey, you gotta support the shit you enjoy. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, hey, dude. There's there's an abundance of pop culture and shit like that, like channels out there, and I just want to talk about fucking conspiracy stuff. It's
Hell
fucking
dude,
gets
those other channels out, like, they're not growing for no reason. You know what I mean? People that are willing to get out there and talk about the crazy shit. There's a reason why they're all blowing up like wildfire. People
and
want to hear it.
it's yeah. I was gonna say it seems like there's a big attraction for it.
It's the
You know,
current climate.
exactly. Well, everyone, Pilgrim, Dave, thanks for sticking around. See you guys the most in chat. Ronnie, you stopped by, but yeah, this is a great conversation, and we'll see you next week.
Later, guys.
Later.
See ya.
Thank you.